Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our 2026 Ladies First virtual panel discussion. Um, for this panel discussion, we are going to leverage off of a theme, and this theme is The Legacy Continues, building on the power of women. The biggest part of saying that we are building off the power of women is one, we are at the end of Women's History Month, and I can attest to the fact that I've been a part of some very, very powerful Women's History Month events. But this sort of an event is a panel discussion that allows myself to bring in women from honestly across the country. So in just a few, I'm going to introduce each of our panelists, but I also want to let you know that through this platform, you are able to put your questions in the comment part of Facebook or Instagram, and not Instagram, Facebook or YouTube, and I can keep up with the questions that you would also like to ask the panelists. My name is Shalee Broussard. I am the Assistant Director of Student Activities here at Winston-Salem State University, and I'm also the coordinator of Women's History Month here at Winston-Salem State University. So as I bring in my panelists, they will introduce themselves and give a little tidbit about who they are, and just a little bit for you to kind of learn who they are. So first, I'm going to bring up, let me throw my dice. Let me see. Let's go with Dr. Ebony Ramsey. How are you?
I think you're going to pick me first.
I can see your face, and you're just like, she's going to say me.
I was waiting. I was like, she's about to pick me first. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, Shalee. Thank you so much for having me, Winston-Salem State University. My name is Ebony Ramsey. I use she, her pronouns. I am a HBCU grad. I'm an HBCU researcher, enthusiast, and I am a woman of God. I'm so glad that I'm here today. A little bit about myself. I attended undergrad at UNC Charlotte, got my bachelor's in theater and mass communications. I have a master's degree from North Carolina A&T State Universities in adult education, and I have a PhD in human resources management and higher education leadership. Happy to be here with you all tonight.
Well, just to give a little more background on Miss Ramsey, her and I had the opportunity to work together, like within or right outside of graduating from college, working radio at 102 Jams. She did more on air than I did. I did some on air for a couple of years, but she was, I'll say she was a bigger name than I was at the time. And we also have a connection with dance. We both did a lot of dance. I didn't. Now that's where I did a little more with 102 Jams. But yeah. And she also, I had the privilege of working under her as the director of Winston-Salem State University for student activities some years ago, and also had the privilege of continuously watching her grow and now become Dr. Ramsey. And I just want to say in front of everyone, I am so proud of you, and I know I have others to introduce, but I want to start off by saying each woman that I bring up in some way has empowered me to continue to move forward in what I do. Life gets tough, but to have a circle of women who are grounded not only in God, but also in the understanding of who they are as women. I'm a very confident woman, but there are times where I need other confident women to be around me, to let me cry, to let me, laugh, or whatever it may be. And I'm proud to say that you are one of those women. So yes, thank you for showing up and being a part of this.
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate you. Thank you.
That was my Valley girl. So speaking of being a Valley girl, I'm gonna bring up. Well, let me see. Wait, no. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and bring up my auntie, because this is a family affair. So I have to introduce my auntie, Miss Harriet Vaughn. Miss Harriet Vaughn, can you tell this studio audience more about you? I know you because obviously I've known you since I was born, but if you could let all these other privileged people who are able to just bask in your beauty, know about who you are. I love my auntie, y'all. I just have to say it. I love her.
And I love my niece. I'm very glad. My name's Harriet Mitchell Vaughn, and I am very glad to be here with you on this evening. Very proud of my family for the work that they do in the community. And of course, to be on this esteemed panel with these ladies is just amazing to me. But I am a author of my book is titled Self-Management in Long-Term Recovery, and you can find that on Amazon. I'm very proud that I was able to write a book, and I provide executive leadership in my career, professional development. I do most of my work with nonprofit organizations. I help them with accreditation, and in compliance for state regulations. And all of the organizations that I have worked with over my career has spanned 30 years. And all of them are services that work with people. And so what's exciting about my career right now is about 6 years ago, I was qualified for a position. I worked with an organization for 19 years, helped to expand that organization, build that organization, and then I was passed over for the executive director position. And so that is what we call, I hit a concrete ceiling instead of a glass ceiling. I could not break through that. And so I decided to leave the small town of 58,000 people. And I was 56 years old when I did it. And I came to a city that now is Austin, Texas, that has 1 million people. And let me tell you, my education came with me. I am double degreed and hold a master's degree. And my skills came with me to Austin. All that I had at that organization did not belong to the organization. It belonged to me. So I came here and have found several organizations to work with that don't have a problem calling me an executive director and giving me the pay that I think that I deserve. And so, I'm trying to leave a legacy with other women in regards to that. I'm trying to let them know that, the power that we gain through our education and our skills does not belong to the place we work. We can leave and do something different. And I'm expanding that into other fields. I've mainly worked in the healthcare field, and now I'm trying to say, hey, I'm more than the healthcare field. I'm more than mental health. I'm more than behavioral health. I want to see what else and what's next, and I'm out here trying to do it. And I thank y'all.
Whew. Yeah, I can listen to my auntie talk all day. I'm just saying, she's just and I can't wait for her to pour more of her wonderful knowledge and her wisdom into our conversation today. Up next, I'm going to bring in. Let me say this. I'm sorry. Let me back up. I am also a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and I have to give props to Dr. Ramsey, who is also my soror. But let me bring in my other soror, who's also a part of my chapter. Let's give it up for Miss Meg. What's up?
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much, Shalee, for inviting me to be part of this panel. I'm back here listening to Dr. Ramsey and Auntie Vaughn, and I'm just like, yes. But good evening, everyone. I am Magalia Sith. I, too, am a HBCU alum. I am a proud family rattler. So a lot of people bleed red out there. I bleed orange and green all day, every day. I'm a proud rattler. And I am the founder or co-founder and executive director of Hustle Winston-Salem. So we are a nonprofit that focuses on inclusive entrepreneurship and building equitable entrepreneurial ecosystems, particularly for marginalized and underestimated entrepreneurs in our community. I like to think with my journey and my work, I didn't know that entrepreneurship was always going to be the route that I took because I too own a business. But what really led me to starting Hustle was seeing what was unavailable for people that look like me. And I ain't like it. I ain't liking that one bit. And I was like, well, I'm not just going to be mad about it. What am I going to do about it? And that's what really led me and my co-founders to starting the organization. And really, I feel like our work is focused on building wealth, thinking about who gets access to capital, who gets to be seen as an entrepreneur. To me, is a policy question. And I believe that I spend my career now making sure that I can change the answer to that question compared to what folks, the government, thinks the answer to that question is. As Shalee mentioned, I am a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta. And I believe that service is key to who we are. I believe it's the rent we pay to be here on earth. So I'm so grateful for my sorority for allowing me the opportunity to be able to serve the world through that way. The other thing that Shalee didn't tell you that we do together, we are both conveners of Black Women Thrive, which is a organizing initiative here in Winston-Salem. And we're really focused on, bringing together the Black women's political power in our community. And we know that start first from our hearts and from how we engage with each other. So we are very intentional about how we are doing civic engagement and policy advocacy within the Black women community. So keep an eye out for us.
And as you see, I had to bring up the comment from one of our Black Women Thrive sisters. She said, "Relax on the FAMU talk." So
you know what? They hated on Jesus. It's okay.
Oh! With that said, up next, and that's a fact. I'm going to bring up before no tears to be shedded. This space is also an opportunity for me to bring the East Coast with the West Coast, as we've seen that, my auntie is from Texas, and I am able to really introduce everyone to my family and somebody that's super important to me. Not only my sister, but my best friend. Y'all give it up for Miss Shauna Johnson. Oh, and before you say anything, I forgot. I gotta show y'all something really cool. Watch this. Let's see if it works. Oh, wait a minute. Here it comes. Here it comes. Just listen for it. You're ready to do it. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And boom. Nope.
What is it?
I forgot that I had that. Like, I can clap for you guys each time. And I forgot all about it. So one more time. I heard that right. Okay.
All right. It didn't come on my side, but I believe it's there. Hello, everyone. My name is Shauna Johnson. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on this panel. It is truly an honor to be amongst these women who are amazing. And I have had only a brief opportunity to communicate with them all, but I can tell you right now that they already have impacted me. And so I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much. I am an executive leader in human resources. I've been in human resources field for, I don't know, maybe 17 years or so. Previous to that, I'm a former business owner of an early childhood development and education center, where I very proudly educated children, prepared them for elementary school. And not only did we do that, but we worked with families. We did a lot of, it was my ministry. It's one of the things that I miss, but we did a lot of work with families, just on a multitude of things that I won't even name here. But, we were braiding children's hair for single mothers. We were making dinner for families in single parent households who were struggling just to be able to get home and get ready for the next day. So, those are some of the things that I've done. But who I am and how I'm showing up today is an executive leader. I'm a wife. I'm a mom, mother of 6, and a grandmother of 3. And I'm proudly raising 2 of my grandchildren while I continue to work full time. And so definitely there's a lot of balance there. And I'm sure we'll have some time to get into that a little bit later today. But just, my passion is people, very people centered. I have been in a lot of spaces where God has blessed me with the opportunity to continue to serve, and a servant leader is what I consider myself to be. I continue to show up in many different spaces as a mentor, but also as a servant. I'm here to serve people, my family being my number one priority, but everything outside of that. So That's who I am. That's how I'm showing up today, and I'm excited, very excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. I love you. Last but not least, I only allowed this individual to go kind of like pretty much last because this individual has been a part of Ladies First pretty much since not the consumption, the y'all help me with the word. I know.
Inception.
Inception. All right. No, I ate a big meal today, y'all. So I'm gonna. Okay. And she's also a very proud mother of a whole tribe. So let me make sure she's ready. Destiny, let me see. I don't see your face yet. I'm gonna wait till I see her face before I bring her up. But I'm gonna bring up Dr. Destiny McKinney in just a second when I see her face. But as we are making our way into this conversation, I want to start by asking a question and in the order in which we just, oh, she's ready. Okay, hold on one second. Here we go. Look at her, busy woman. So to the world, to everyone, I want to, let me get my, yes. Dr. Destiny McKinney, freshly off the block of education and into the seat of being a doctor. Go ahead and let the people know about you, even though you've been on here for about almost 10 years and you've been introduced a lot of times. Give them another recap of who you are.
Greetings. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Great. I am Dr. Destiny McKinney. I am safe. I'm literally in my parking lot. I was, when everybody was introducing themselves, I was not safe because I was trying to get to the parking lot before it was my turn, but I'm safe. I am newly minted as in a year this past February. Dr. Destiny McKinney, graduate of Grambling State University, native of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Got my master's in student affairs and higher ed from Texas State University and my PhD in adult education from Texas State University, where I looked at student affairs professionals and how they interact with the construct of Blackness and how that interaction plays out into the policies and procedures and things that they do on campus. I am a strong advocate for all things Black, all things Black people and community. I am a mother of 6, a wife to 1. I am a community builder wherever I go. We are currently in Houston, Texas. My battle right now is fighting for public education and making sure that politics don't further suppress the Black vote. I stepped away from higher ed to focus on my family because I do have 6 school-age kids and we are battling trying times right now. So I feel my place in time is to stand in the void. Whenever I'm present on campus, I'm not present just for my kids. I'm present for all the kids that look like my babies and more, because I know a lot of us can't be present because we working to stay in the zip code, to stay at the good school. So that's my fight right now, and I'm excited for it. And I'm also preparing to re-enter the workforce and what that looks like. So you'll be getting that type of perspective from me when I speak this evening. Thank you, Shalee. I love everything that you're doing. You will forever be my sister, and I just love this energy and all the amazing women on this call.
Woo. Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to do a full screen, but because I want to see y'all, but I also want to play around because this clap little situation just, I'm gonna give it up for my whole plan. I mean, I had a song on Me and the Trap is Going Down. It's about to go down, y'all. So I'd like to start with this first question. And we can go in the same order that I introduced you. How do you use your hidden talents? Because I've heard everything about your careers, your family lifestyle, all those beautiful things. But, sometimes people don't know about our hidden talents. And for each of you, I know your hidden talents. So how do you use your hidden talent to create peace or help others to believe in their own?
Yeah, great question. I don't think I think about the things that I bring to the table that are hidden talents enough. But I would say one of my hidden talents is that I'm a creative. And I don't lead with that talent, but that is something that's been in me since I was a young girl. I always wanted to be on a stage or, entertain and do things. I have charisma. And I think that's what led me to the career that I am, because I'm really good with people. So the way that I unlock my hidden talent is I try to pull those things out of people that I see in them that they don't see in themselves. And I feel like because I had such a long stint in higher education, I left that out of my intro, but I've been in higher education for 26 years. I've worked at 6 HBCUs. I've worked at 5 PWIs. And in every instance that I worked with anybody, whether it be the administrative assistant or our janitorial staff or the president of the university, I've been told that I have a way with folks and I have a way with words. And so my theater background, my dance background helped me to really highlight my creativity. But I think it really helped me unlock, like, really looking for the potential that others have in themselves. Like, I'm always very attentive, and I really pay a lot of attention to details. And I think that that's probably one of my superpowers, is like helping people to realize what their hidden talents are and what they bring to the table and how special they are, in this kind of rat race that we're running. So I would say that would be my answer to the question.
I think I want to say Miss Vaughn.
All right. I believe when it comes to maybe a hidden talent, the only thing I can say is usually because I have a very stoic look and I have a stoic being, that usually when people get around me or even with staff and new people, I come into an organization or sit at a table with people and they really don't know that I have a very humorous side. And that I make a lot of jokes and I find a lot of things funny, but they don't expect that. And when I start to do it, it really lightens up things. And I have found a way to share with women who maybe come to work dressed wrong, or, it's like, baby, I'm gonna have to say something about what you're wearing, but I want to do it in a way that is going to make them not feel bad for the day. Because if we give them that, they're going to have to wear what they wore that whole day and feel self-conscious. And we're going to find a funny way to deliver that information to them. And, just make it fun. I have learned to make things lighter and more fun. And I think that's a hidden talent that most people do not know secretly, I'm a comedian. That's it. That's all.
Yeah, I promise you. When Shauna's like, I promise you, there is not a moment that I can just be on the phone with my auntie and I just want to be serious. Like, we're talking like some real serious stuff, and then she'll flip it, and I'm like, where does your brain go? That is a talent. Honestly, your thing. I will say that about all of y'all. Like, we can be on the phone or on a call, or I can just in the same space, and I'll just look at y'all like, y'all some funny, yeah, funny. But I think that is a talent that many people have to learn to use. The reason why I say that is because times are very serious, and we're all dealing with some very serious things, and we gotta find that flip side, that sunshine side to things, and to have that comedic side. Like, auntie, it's so funny you said that. I'm sorry, Miss Mitchell Vaughn. Y'all just don't hear me call her auntie. I've always thought that you should have been a comedian. I am not even playing. You should try that. You should try an open mic one night. Like, auntie, you really should. I'm just throwing it out there. Just gonna throw that out there. All right, Mag. Tell us, because your talents, a lot of the talents that I know of you, honestly, you guys have me to sit back and watch just the way in which you quietly manage things. It really really makes an event or a program come together. So how do you feel about your talent and how you're able to really utilize that to help others? I mean, because
I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's thriving right now.
I think, the talent you mentioned, I don't know that that's so hidden. That's my boss's side. It's very visible. But I think when I think of hidden talent for me, I would say it's an ability to translate. That could be translate between communities and institutions, or between lived experiences or policy language, or where people are, where they're trying to go. I think it's always been something that I can sit back and listen. And I talk a lot, so it's interesting to hear me say I can listen. That's a skill people don't know that I have, because I talk so much. But just sit back and listen and really understand what's being communicated, to be able to translate that to whether in a grant room or a mentoring conversation, or whatever it is, community organizing, whatever it is that needs to happen, to kind of make sure that the message that needs to be heard is heard in the way that it needs to be heard, and different audiences need to hear things in different ways. And I think, thankfully, I've been blessed to be able to, because I'm a girl from Miami. Well, I'm from the Bahamas, so I got that island piece, but I'm from Miami. I'm from the streets of Miami, North Miami. So, sometimes I just gotta let the kids say, take it to the streets with them. But sometimes if I, need to be, use my business background and be corporate with you, or go off with the fire island girl that exists in me, then that will happen, but the message will be communicated. And it's typically in a form of advocacy for whoever it is, or whatever it is that it needs to be translated for. But yeah, let me not go on the tangent. I think my hidden talent is really tied around translation.
Love that. Love that. Love that. Shana?
Hidden talent. So I've been sitting here thinking, as y'all have all been talking about hidden talents.
Don't you do it. Don't you do it. This girl can sing and she can dance.
Okay. I'll take those.
Okay.
I'll take those. I don't know if they're hidden though. Maybe they are these days. I think they're probably hidden these days. But do I use them in the shower, praising the Lord, on the way to work in the car by myself? Birthday karaoke, maybe. But truly, what I was actually reflecting on when you asked the question was, I really am an observer. I'm probably not the loudest one in the room. Give me some time and I'll come alive. But I'm probably more of an observer in a room, and I don't miss much. I think I recognize the people in the room that are not speaking. I recognize the folks that are maybe the quietest person in the room, maybe the person that is talking a lot, but I recognize what might be behind those eyes, or what might be behind their smile, or something like that. And I take that, and if I'm led to do so, I will maybe do what I can to inject some wisdom, some positivity, some encouragement if needed. I feel like I've spent a lot of time trying to help folks move through maybe trauma, or whatever it is, even if they're stuck in their career or trying to start up a business. I really have kind of have a knack for marketing and being able to help package a business, put it together, and figure out how we're going to get it to the right people, and just make things happen. So if I had to describe my hidden talent, I think that's what it would be.
I love that. I wish you would have spoke more about your singing, but we're going to leave that there. I just have to tell a story. So back in the day, Shauna, our father, which is my auntie's brother, God rest his soul, took Shauna down to California, and she was at the house of MC Hammer, and we're auditioning for MC Hammer as like a singer, dancer, all these things. So I just want to make sure it's known that she's being very lighthearted about her talent as a singer. But I'm amazed by just how she still has a voice, and it's just as beautiful as her face is. Yay. Okay. Last but not least, Dr. McKinney. I love saying that. For you and Ebony, I was there when you guys were in school, and now I get to call my sisters doctor only here because I ain't gonna be calling y'all doctor when you know. I'm not gonna keep just here. Not playing. Put some respect on that doctor. But yes,
That's funny. When I got finished, I told the kids, y'all can call me Dr. Mama. And I wouldn't answer unless they called it. For that first week, it was Dr. Mama in the house. We good now. Hidden talent. My hidden talent would have to be flipping tables. I am I'm the wild card. I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm paying attention. 9 times out of 10, I already know what's going on. I just want to see what else you're gonna show me. And I already know who I'm going to talk to, what I need to talk about, what needs to happen. But I'm not afraid to flip the table. I position myself with the politicians, the folks that know how to keep the straight face, the folks that know how to play the game, the folks that have quote unquote a lot to lose, but might not be able to do the certain things. I have nothing to lose but my chains. So I'm in a position where I can speak up in other spaces. Example, when you're in grad school, when you're a graduate student and you're, especially at the PWI, you're dealing with your professors that are fighting for tenure, fighting for amicable tenure, fighting for tenure that speaks to the work that they do and how they show up in their community. It looks totally different from their white counterparts. As a student, I'm able to say things that they can't say in that moment. And so putting my stuff on the line and using my privilege and my seat of power when it comes to stakeholdership. I'm really good at lining up who's the stakeholders and what powers and pieces they play, and also making that plain to folks that sit at my kitchen table, so we're not left out the conversation. So that would be the hidden talent that I bring.
And for each of you and your hidden talents, what's so powerful? I'm gonna keep using the word powerful because we hold the power as women, we honestly do. But the power in which you have within your talent, I feel like that takes you further than just where you are within your career. I truly feel that there are women who do very well at their job, and then when they're done with their job, there's like absolutely nothing else. But to be able to unlock like a hidden talent and utilize it in a way that can empower others to feel seen. For instance, I'll say for myself, I am a loud person. Surprise, I'm a loud person. But as a child, and those that know me as a child, I was always loud. I was always very outspoken, but there were times where I was told that I was a little too loud or a little too outspoken. And that used to hurt my feelings until I had that opportunity to work in radio. And then next thing you know, everybody was like, I love your voice. Because I used to be a little, I didn't like to hear how deep my voice was until people were really like, well, when they compared me to MC Light, that was it. I was like, I'm good now. Because, but to have a talent that you do not open up to the world and hide it and never allow it to grow is, to me, a disservice to the community. So I do appreciate you guys sharing with us your talent, and I hope and pray that you continue to utilize that talent to influence others to really open up, because again, you've done that for me. So we're gonna move on to the next question. And you all can now kind of answer however you go. I guess just kind of put your hand up when you're ready to answer. So in what ways are women redefining power in spaces that were not originally built for us? So everybody nodding their head. I'm waiting for that hand to go up. Yes, Dr. Ramsey.
I think that we are taking up space in ways that are not traditionally, I I guess, that in ways that have not traditionally been done. I'm seeing so many more women that are active in their communities, grassroots, kind of being in the forefront, and leaders, not just in their immediate communities, but nationally, right? I mean, we're seeing that women are really taking a hold of the ways in which we're kind of breaking through some of the glass ceiling. And I think it's because that the world that we're living in now is really it is changing. I think that there are still some ways that we can improve, but I love to see. I have loved seeing in the past 5 to 10 years how there's been an emphasis on even Black women and the struggles that we're going through and the things that we are encountering, not just in the home, but also in our professional lives. Everything that has been highlighted as far as women's rights definitely in my opinion was one-sided in history, and until lately here we've actually been highlighting Black women's health struggles, maternal things that happen to us in healthcare, mental health awareness. I think all of those things have been highlighted more so than I've seen them in the past, and to me that's a redefinition of what it means to be a woman of color, and especially a Black woman in our society. And I don't think that folks had a good perspective of that before now. And now I feel like at least, there is a better understanding. We're not all the way there, but I do think that there is a better awareness and a better understanding of some of the things that we're going through as women and women of color. And to me, I think that is a redefinition of how we are defining these spaces.
I love that.
Sorry.
Yes. No. Yes.
So when I think about it, for me, it's really, I think women, particularly Black women, we're redefining power in the ways that you kind of already heard some of the panelists mention, like how we could read a room and all of that those type of things. I think it's a form of like a relational intelligence that a lot of times, others, men or non-Black people, don't always see as a power in itself. And I think that, our ability to read, build, and move through relationships, it puts us in positions to, what she said, flip tables, move tables, shift tables. A lot of times as we lean into whatever it is that we do, us being able to kind of read these situations have us questioning if a table needs to be redesigned, or does a table even need to be in the room? And I think that Black women, it's one of the things that we do naturally a lot of times. Whether or not we act on it, I think it's our decision, like to do something about it or not. But I think Black women have that as a sort of an inner power to be able to kind of just manage that relational intelligence. Because not everybody that smart. A lot of people be like, "Can you not read the room, my dog?" But I think that's one of the ways that we're kind of redefining how we think about power in spaces that we're, whether they want us in there or not. This is what's happening.
Whether they want us in there or not. And I wanted to, Dr. McKinney, I was ready as soon as she said whether they want us in there or not. Like my energy went straight to like, okay, what does Dr. McKinney have to say about that?
No, she gave me the segue because her background is, dealing with entrepreneurship. And it was just, when I read the question of redefining power in spaces that were not originally built for us, the way that we're redefining them is we're saying, we done with your space. We don't need to be in that space. And it's more so for peace and sanity, because we're tired of placating to that space. So it's like, okay, we'll just go build our own, that entrepreneurial spirit. We'll go build our own. We will, if we have to, for capitalism's sake, we'll deal with the space at the bare minimum and pour the rest of our energy into what fuels us and fuels our community and what we need, until we can get fully and wholly into that side of just doing what's best for us. I think that's the biggest piece that I've noticed, is that we're not sitting in these spaces no more and grinning and bearing it. We're like, oh, you don't want me here? Good luck without me here. And I think that's been the best piece of it, is like being able to walk out and do. And I think the next phase for us that we need to build upon is now, how do we leverage our networks and build our networks, true networks. I saw this amazing sister, she's out of the DC area, who talked about networking. I think she did her dissertation on it amongst folks of color, and how sometimes these spaces are not welcome and they're cloaked in sisterhood or networking or things, but it's full of what we left. There's devices, some type of underlying agenda. And so us ridding ourselves of that, because just because you step out of it don't mean you don't carry it with you, because you've had to survive that space for so long. You're carrying pieces. You got to strip yourself of that. You got to cleanse yourself off spiritually, and because I don't even want to jump on that, but that's spiritual warfare is real, and all of this is a part of that. So making sure that you're cleansing yourself off so that you can enter into this new space and do what it is you're called to do is really big. And I think that's the next step for us from walking away and continuing to redefine our power.
Miss Mitchell Vaughn. Don't you say they said it all.
Well, the topic itself is, that's a big one, because each generation, we are taught different things, because we're trying to survive in America. And it's been really tough. And you got people like Shirley Chisholm. She taught us, if they don't invite you to the table, bring a folding chair, And so it was a time that we had to invite ourselves to the table. And we had to sit there, and we just had to kind of grin and bear, like I heard. But we emerge, to another era, and we show each other how to do it. Because we used to have to do a lot of code switching, and sometimes I didn't know what room I was in, what voice I needed to be using. I started getting all mixed up, trying to talk one way at home and be another person at work, and pull my hair back and cut my nails, and oh my God, and just a lot. And they would tell me to show up authentically, or show up myself, and then they wasn't ready for me to really show up. And now, I'm 5'7", I'm 200 pounds. I am a Black woman, and I am not a Black woman, just a Black woman. I'm a dark-skinned Black woman, and when I show up, just my very presence changes the room in some kind of way. And so I think now, it's like, okay, if this room is not big enough for me, and it can't handle my height, and it can't handle my Blackness, and it can't handle everything that comes with me, because I'm not loud, and I am not saying anything out of order, and I am not going to, I'm not angry. I'm here to work. I'm here to take care of business. If just seeing me it makes you think of some movie you saw or something like that, then I may need to get out of the space, because I can't do all that. And so in 2026 now, I have a voice, I have a tone, I have a way in which I speak, and I don't want to be corrected by other people. And so when I say something, I don't need you to put it in another form of English. I meant what I said when I said it. And so I kind of, we look around, we're seeing all that. And it's like, oh, so what you meant to say? No, I meant to say what I said. And so it's fine tuning all the things and putting them together that I've heard through the years. And, we're not having to dress like a man anymore when we go to these executive positions and doing this thing. When I came along, man, my daddy bought me my first briefcase. And it was a real briefcase. And when I graduated college, that was my gift. And I packed that thing for a long time. And I looked like a man. I mean, it was beautiful, but I had to have a little suit. I had to look like them. And now we don't. That's stuff that we don't necessarily have to do. We can look like women going to leadership positions. I don't want to look like a man, and I don't want to have to be white. I enjoy being around women of different colors. I love being around diversity. I want them to be them, and I want to be me. You do yoga, and I might take a little walk, and that's what we're gonna do. And so I feel like the workplace now is, we're finding our way. It's difficult and it's hard, but I'm here for the hard. I can make it, and so can you.
Yeah, I love that. I love
Thank
that.
you.
So, Ms. Johnson, yep.
No, I appreciate hearing from everyone. I think, and I love that we have so many different perspectives, and I think that's what makes this so beautiful. From my perspective, showing up as a Black woman in executive leadership, it's been a long road for me, and I'll share a little bit of my perspective and how we show up as in spaces that we weren't maybe previously either privy to or maybe it was hard to break into. For me, my story, as we know, it's been difficult for women to break into executive leadership in general. I think that we've had to break down a lot of doors. We had a lot of folks that came before us, especially as Black women, and as Black women, attempting to show up as our authentic selves. But one of the things for me is that, I don't have, it's like we have to show up in these spaces, not only as women, but, but Black folks, we have to be prepared to show up working harder, show up presenting more polished, we have to double what somebody else might be doing just to be seen, to be noticed, to be, to be able to stay in a space and feel like, folks are appreciating your presence and what you have to offer. I can say for me, I have been in my position, able to encourage those who, I never finished school. I never finished my higher education, but I can sit here proudly to say that I worked hard. I educated myself outside of the normal institutions, and I've been able to make it into a leadership role that has made myself, my family, everyone has been proud of all the work that I've been able to accomplish. But I think that being able to show up in those spaces without the I've got these accolades, I've got these degrees, I've got all these different things, and I've been able to achieve some of these things, and being able to be not only that person that has been able to achieve those things and be able to sit in these spaces with everybody else. I can't have the same conversations as everybody else have when they talk about, I have this education, I have that. I don't have that in the same way. But what I will say is that there are folks who work within my organization, outside of my organization, who are inspired by the level that I've been able, the things that I've been able to achieve in the way I've been able to achieve them. And as a Black woman, not easy to do. I live in Seattle, Washington, and the percentage of Black folks in Seattle, Washington, I don't know, maybe it's 20%, maybe. And so out of all of those, I mean, so I just have to say that, being able to break down some of those barriers, being able to enter into some of those spaces and be bold and continue to do the work that we need, be voices for those who don't have a voice. I'm that Harriet Tubman within my organization. I may not be loud, I may not say this or that. I am an observer, but I'm doing the work. I'm doing a lot of work that, and we are working the Underground Railroad over here. But I'll just say that, I'm excited to be able to share that I am a person who was able to say I broke down some of those barriers. There's a lot of folks who have not been able to say that, but I want to encourage someone else to say you can do it too. You don't have to feel like there's this glass ceiling if you don't feel like you've been able to achieve this. Yes, there are some things that you have to go do, and you have to figure out how to educate yourself one way or another. And certain there will be a ceiling if you don't get certain education, but there's a lot that you can do, and don't count yourself out.
I love that. I love that. That anytime I hear someone say glass ceiling, it reminds me of this saying, and I'm not going to say it correctly, but as we move forward, let me take it back. In the 60s and 70s, I'll say 50s and 60s, when Black people were achieving and they were, getting the jobs, able to get into the schools, able to, good or bad, get their children into segregated schools. And they moved out of the neighborhoods, and they were able to have their kids at the better school, all the better. They didn't turn around and reach back and pull the next person into that opportunity to do or be the better. And that's very scary. It's a very scary thought, because even now it's seen a lot more with Black women. And I've sat in some spaces where there have been Black women talking about how they were excited about a new job. They were excited to see that there were some other Black women. So now they're thinking that I'm going to have the support. They're going to have my back. And they're in the space, and it's honestly crabs in a barrel. Like, I can't let this Black woman be the best Black woman. I got to be the best Black woman, because I won't be seen. I'll disappear. I'll be invisible. And not realizing, as I will say with our initiative here in Winston-Salem with Black Women Thrive, we all become better when we make sure that each of us are better. If we're in the room, let's say it's the 6 of us, and I'm the only one making sure that I'm being seen and heard, then I'm not allowing another 5 to be behind me, and we become the bigger voices in the space, which touches on how it looks, even with voting, how it looks with what's needed for our children in the school system. Touching on the school system, because I know we're going to get into that. Any school systems, I can tell for those that, have to show up in spaces. I know sadly, sometimes I'm there twice a month checking in on individuals that live in my home. Those teachers are, I'm gonna use the word my auntie used, they throw it off. They get kind of thrown when they see a Black woman coming in and asking questions like, okay, well, where is it that I can help my child to do better? And not saying, oh, my child is the problem. I know what my child does, but I'm walking in as a Black woman and showing I care. Now, what if that next Black mother walks in and said they care? And it becomes this village that's showing that we care about our children in the school system. So I can see in many places that's a sad thing to not see us coming together. And again, that's why I have to put it out there. Black Women Thrive is a space that really allows us to get behind a woman or get behind a team and say, well, how can I help you to elevate and to move up? So let me move into this next question. How can we ensure we are not just networking upward, but we are also pouring into those that are coming behind us? And I want to start this. Okay, no. Doc, what up, Doc? No.
No, I was saying, go ahead. You can start. No, you can start, because this is something that touches my soul. So you go ahead and start.
Touch your soul, just like they in the church. I don't want to stop the spirit. You feel that Holy Ghost?
Okay. So I'm gonna get my comments concise, because this is something that really has affected me in my journey, both professionally and personally. I would say that, to answer your question, part of the reason why I do what I do is because at every turn in my career, in my personal life, I've been like one of the first. I was the first person in my family to get a PhD, which I didn't think I was going to ever do that. Like, that was something God had in store for me that I didn't know. But being a woman and being the first to do a lot of things in your career path, you encounter folks that might look like you, and it definitely, the phrase is very true. All kinfolk ain't your skinfolk, right? I hope I said that right. I think that's right. But basically, just because we are all people of color doesn't mean that everyone has the best intentions for you. And I really had to find that out the hard way, because at the core of who I am is an empathetic person. I am a helpful person. And my nature is to want to pour into others naturally, because if I feel like I've cracked the code and I've figured out how to surpass a challenge or a barrier, I naturally want others to come with me. But I found that that's not the way that everybody operates. And it was part of my process of kind of grieving, because I'm similar to Destiny. I stepped away from higher education. I'm in higher education adjacent work now because I had to grieve the fact that I had such high expectations for my career and for my life. And I thought that people would be willing to help me to get there more. But I realized quickly that just because that was the way that I led, that's not the way that everyone leads. I started a group because I kept finding out that there were other women that were having very similar situations and similar issues that I was having, and no one would believe them. And that's what I encountered. Anytime I would voice any type of contention or challenges that I would have, people would look at me and ask, the first question they would ask me is, what did you do? Like, what did I do wrong? Right? They never assumed that I was being disenfranchised. I mean, there were situations that I went through that I look back now and I'm like, I can't believe that I survived that situation on my own and I didn't speak up at the time, because I felt that I would be judged and I would be punished because of my affiliation to that situation. But I started a group amongst my friends, and it's called Black Women Who Don't F Around. BWWDF A. So Black Women Who Don't F Around, and the F is the F that you know. So Black Women Who Don't F Around. And I brought us together because I just kept finding that there were similar issues, similar stories, that they were going through trials alone and not having somebody to talk about it with or even to problem solve, right? And so we meet up monthly and we talk about our issues. We talk about personal issues that we're going through. We talk about professional issues. And then we talk about the ways that we navigated those issues, because I kept encountering mentorship from other Black women, other women in general, that were gatekeeping. They were gatekeeping information. They were not wanting to share. And I could not understand why. Like, I was like, why don't these folks want to share information? So I've made it a part of my passion and a part of my mission to always think about how I can not be a gatekeeper in most ways, how I can share my experiences a little bit more wider, a little bit more transparent, so that we can pour into others and break down some of those barriers that we've experienced that other people shouldn't have to encounter. And so I'll stop there so other folks can talk, but this is one of those hills that I will die on. And she said she was Harriet Tubman. Shauna said, Harriet, I'm Ida B. Wells. That's how I feel. I'm Ida all day.
I love that. Is it okay for me to go next? It's so important. This is such an important thing. It's so important to prepare our next generation of folks. Even if it's not our next generation, it could be your own generation. It could be just somebody who's in need. But the way that I like to empower folks, anybody that I know, when I talk with them, getting to know them, even if I've known them for a while, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you're doing? Are you fulfilled? What is it that you want to do? And I want to do anything that I can to help them understand how to get where they want to go. And share my experiences. I can talk about just some of the folks that I mentor, even on my job. I can say that there have been 4 people now who have come through human resources. 4 of them now three of them have gone on to have a career in human resources because I gave them the opportunity. And I'm just not going to put it all on me, because it's not about me. It's really about the work that they put in. But it's about that bit, like you said, that there's folks that are gatekeeping. I'm 100%. If I'm standing at the gate, it's because I'm trying to figure out how to get you in. And so I spend a lot of time, mentoring people, talking with folks. What is it? I'm going to meet with somebody soon to say, let's go over your resume. What is it that you want to do? You want to get into what field? Okay, let's figure out how to get you there. And talking to folks about, people get, some folks, it's like being able to move up through an organization, if that's what you choose to do, or even being able to sit at a table, boardroom table, whether you're advocating for your own business or another organization. But there's some nervousness and things behind that for folks, and thinking, oh, can I even ever sit in those seats? Can I even exist in those rooms? What would I do if I were in those rooms? What even happens in those rooms? A lot of folks just don't know. And it's because, you got to share that with folks. And so, I don't feel like those were things that, people do gatekeeping around that. I mean, I remember just me being a person just trying to, level up in my own career, and just the people around me. Like you talk about, there's all skin folk ain't kin folk, you know what I mean? Because there's folks that could have said, hey, let me pull you to the side and tell you about this, and let me give you this information, or let me help you with this. I didn't have a whole lot of that. But what I can say, and I'm just talking about just within, my community here. But what I can say is I will talk to folks. I'll tell you what's going on in these rooms. Now, there are certain things that are confidential. You're not going to talk about the confidential things, but let me tell you how these folks are just people, just like, anybody else, and they're not, they don't have, they sit around, they talk about some of the same things. None of this stuff is rocket science, but just giving folks the opportunity to understand what's happening behind some of those closed doors, and giving folks the, letting them know that, yes, you may not have ever done this particular job, this one thing that you really want to do, or this one business that you want to get into. But you have look at all these transferable skills that you have, and encouraging people to know that, these are the things that you can do. Here's what you can do, and here's what you can start to do. And so being able to help folks in that way, to encourage them, and to be able to help them recognize their worth and what in their value, and how they can contribute to a situation that they want to get into, but maybe nervous and don't think that they can. That's something that I practice. And I'd love to be in a, around a lot more, women, especially women of color, who are doing some of the same things. And I know that there's a lot of folks out there that are doing it. I just don't have a whole lot of them in my community circle here.
Can I say something? Holy. Y'all both said so much, and it connected it like 800. I was moving, so I had to grab a book to make it all come together. The main way that I don't fall into this title stuff, because these titles and all of this stuff, that's they stuff. And honestly, we just did this to have the tools to be at them tables, to do what we need to do. This is a means to an end. These titles don't define us. I'm Destiny in the hood. I'm Destiny at home, until you cross me and I'm like Dr. McKinney, and you're gonna address me as such. And that's in them spaces where it's a tool, right? It's not just it doesn't define us. And I'm saying that because, and this is a double entendre, and I'm bringing up Dr. Nikki Giovanni and Ego Tripping. Read the poem Ego Tripping, but I got to tell y'all a story that connects all of this, because this is how I stay behind, never above, never on a pedestal. Even though we put folks, people might put us on a pedestal for being on this call right now, not knowing that they could very well be on this call right now. Me, when I come to calls like this, I see myself sitting at a virtual kitchen table, like you're sitting with your aunties and you're just shooting shit. Sorry, WSSU, I said it, my bad. But that's what it is. You come to the table like we always do. That's where we got our first education, was at the house, at the table, learning from the folks around the table. And I think about these amazing phone trees. I think about Nikki Giovanni, and she was really good friends with Rosa Parks, but she was also really good friends with Angela Davis and James Baldwin and Maya Angelou and Sonia Sanchez and Toni Morrison. This was their phone tree. Like the way we talking right now, something happened. That's them picking up the road and saying, girl, and Maya on the phone. And I'm saying this because I've I've sat at the feet of Dr. Giovanni when she talked about, oh yeah, I have to call. Now this ain't me calling Dr. Angelo Maya. This is her. I'm quoting. Yeah, I called Maya. She talked about Jimmy the Head. She talked about James Baldwin. These were regular people who did extraordinary things. That's it. That's all. Regular folks. And I had the amazing pleasure of being around some folks in her phone tree. I got to have dinner with Dr. Davis and just chill with her. And literally just like, I'm like, you're in awe, but I'm like, hey, my mama wants to talk to you. Oh, baby, get on the phone. Regular people. I sat behind Dr. Giovanni with my 2 babies, and she was there for her other book that came out. But because my 2 babies were the only babies in the room and she saw them holding this book, you know, when she, first of all, she didn't even entertain the people who were introducing her because she was playing footsie with my kids. Then when she got up, she said, I'm not here to talk about the book that y'all just purchased. I got some special fans in the house, and I'm going to read an excerpt from Ego Tripping. And this was the book that I was reading to them before they went to sleep. So they was like 5 and 6. And so that's how staying humble, even when you're in their spaces. She didn't care when she got to that mic with her Thug Life tattoo and she put her shawl around her. I thought I was sitting in her kitchen. Even with all of them white folks there, we was at Texas State, and she just talked to, and she told them, even y'all white people won't get a kick out of this, because she's like, she knew who her audience was, and she keyed into them, and she didn't buy into the politics of the title. And I think when we buy into the politics of anything, we lose, because politics has done nothing. It's always been against our bodies. So when we buy and we play into their politics, we lose all the time. And so staying humble, keeping that table open for anybody to enter. And always remembering the kitchen table is round and there's room for everybody. That's all.
Ooh, child, she didn't said it all. Listen, I love it all. Thank you for that, girl. You blessed us with a reminder. Yes. So, you know, when I think about pouring back into those that are coming behind us, I think there's also still a intentional and practical part of my brain that always activates with the kids. And it's because so much is getting lost right now. Like, I think technology has shifted so much in how we connect with the generation after us. And there's just not a lot of humanness in it anymore. And because of that, I find myself always being like super, super intentional and super like, we gonna be in this room, we gonna talk, you know, we gonna do these things. And I think it's really reminding myself a lot of times that I have to create access points for these kids. Like I have to. I have to make sure that when I think about pouring back into them or mentoring them, it's not inspirational. It's like Dr. McKinney just said, it's real, it's honest, it's just being around me, being around those who inspired me and who helped me. And I think that we really have to start thinking about the concept of pouring into them as mentorship with teeth. Like there has to be something that they feel they're gonna lose, something we feel like we're gonna lose. I really think also that we have to be able to speak their names in rooms because people spoke our names in rooms, right? I think we have to be able to advocate for them, and not in a showy way. We have to go back and let them know that we did that, because that's how they know they have to do that. Because again, somebody did it for us. We always, what's the saying? We stand on the shoulder of giants. So we have a responsibility to like broaden our shoulders so that one day they can stand on ours. Like I really feel that that's true when we're thinking about any generation that's coming after us. Like, where are we? I think we're in generation Gamma. Who knew? But anyways, like there's so many people behind us, but like for the folks that will truly, truly, truly change the world, hopefully, like it's the small things that we do today. It's just like, you know, we're able to, you know, do the things that we're doing because it's what they did back then. And I agree 100%. Like it's just being human. It's just being who we are. But that's a powerful thing. There are a lot of things that we see on a day-to-day where folks, they just day-to-day, nothing. And I was like, you know, and it's not a judgment. I really hope it's not coming across as a judgment. It's not a judgment, but it's like, it's so many people watching you, and you're not doing it for a show, but you're impacting that person. You're impacting that young person one way or another. And everything we do, and I don't have kids. I just have a lot of, you know, aspiring entrepreneurs around me. And I'm like, bruh, like, you know, when I get tired, I gotta find my girls. I gotta find my sister circles to be like, I'm tired, but I can't let them see that because I don't want them to quit. Right. So I do think there's still a level of being practical and being intentional when we're thinking about pouring back. And then I think it's always bringing knowledge. This is my last thing, bringing knowledge back to folks. We learn a lot. We learn a lot, not just in the textbook, not in classrooms, just in life. And I think sometimes we assume the generation after us should just know it. I think, you know, I call them the kids, but I love them. I love, who's after us, Gen Z? I love them. I like all the little things they teach me about culture, all the new tools, everything. Like, I love it all. And learning from them, you know, hopefully means that that's why they're open and willing to learn from me. And I think we have to approach things that way. And that's, you know, going into growth and all that, but that's not the question you asked. You asked about pouring back. So those are my thoughts on it. I mean, I'll be quiet.
Auntie, you haven't spoken.
Oh man, I mean, I just love y'all so much. This is so.
You were zoned out with all of this.
It's just very relevant, and it's just, you know, incredible. I've learned from so many people in my life, you know, having a wonderful mother and father, and just, you know, family, aunties, and oh my God, you know, so many people. And they taught me traditional things that, of course, I tried to go against for a while. And I love that I was able to return back to some things, you know. And when y'all talk, church is one of those things, because I need a community. And so just like when she started talking about she had developed a group, you know, we need a group of people. And I need a way to cross over. I need a way to go from, I had to have a method to go from my 20s to my 30s to my 40s. And I had to have something in my eyesight of what that looked like. Because I didn't want to be a 40-year-old dressing like a 20-year-old, thinking like a 20-year-old. I needed a method. And I got that from my kinfolk. I got that from the people in the community as I watched them change. People in my neighborhood when I was growing up, you would see the difference in, you knew this lady was of age, you knew this girl was a teenager, you knew this one was 8 or 9 years old. I mean, because they looked 8 or 9 years old. I mean, they looked like their age, and there was some movement as they progressed in life, you know. And I would see people would get a car and then it'd go from a hoopty to a real car, and then from a real car to some spectacular stuff, and you would see it and you were able to watch that and not be jealous of that, but you knew if they could accomplish this, that you could accomplish this. And so, you know, and going to church and still and not letting that go. I am a spiritual woman, but I am also a religious woman. And I'm religious because I have never missed what church, the value that church plays in my life. All the other stuff, well, but the value of somebody expects me on Sunday. And when I show up sad, or I show up in a different way, somebody's gonna be like, "Hey, Harriet, how are you? What's going on? Can I help? Call me. Maybe let's have a coffee." If I don't show up for a couple of Sundays, somebody's going to be calling me on the phone. You know, they're going to be like, "Where is Sister Vaughn? Where is she at?" So I like to have a community of people around me, and I do the same for them. They taught me how to do that. Somebody's missing, I need to call and see what's going on. "Oh, I didn't even know you were sick. You know, I didn't know that you had got terminated from your position. Let's see if I can help. Is there anything anything I can do. And that is what we've done through the years, is we've built each other up in those type of environments. And we bring the youth along. Yep, you will get in the youth choir. I don't care if you can sing. You're going to get with them, because when they go out to the conference for a week or two in San Antonio or in some other place, that's the only way you going on vacation. I don't have no money. I mean, we've done that through the years. We've put them through those kind of things, and we just need circles, and we need to make sure people are involved with circles. Because when I look at resumes, I'm telling you, I'm in Austin now. We are 8% of the population in Austin. So when I look at a resume, I'm looking for, if you have a I'm from the 409. And if you have a 409 area code, I'm like, I can't even believe this. You hired automatically. I mean, what's your zip code? Oh my God, you from Louisiana, baby. You already got the job. I mean, because I'm going to try and reach back and get the people who I know they're hard workers. I know where you come from. I know you're a hard worker. I just need to get you in here and fine tune you because I know you're coming rough. And when you get in here, I need to fine tune you. I just need to do some things. I need to say some things and help you along the way. So I think that is what we do. I bring a constant to the people who are around me. I'm constantly the same woman. So you won't see me tonight falling off a bar stool drunk, because that's not who you expect to see when you see me. When you see me, you expect me to be cool, calm, and collected. And you expect me to be sober-minded, because that is who I am. You don't expect to see me cursing out somebody or beating up somebody. It might happen, but it's not an expected, but it might happen. But it's not an expected thing. So I have to be who it is that I say I am, and who it is that I present myself. I say I'm a Christian. You shouldn't see me cussing nobody out and doing all that stuff. So I have to be mindful. I'm an executive, and nobody wants their executive to be out in the middle of 6th Street caught up with some stuff. So everything that I do, I try to be a constant. People always say this about me. I tell them that at places I've worked, if I'm not, if you don't see me in a crisis and it seems like we're having a crisis, don't worry about it. Until you see me react, and I live that way. And my daughter lived, when she was alive, she used to say, I'm not gonna worry about it because my mama ain't worried. Now, if I see my mama worried, I know it's some trouble coming down the line. And Shelly and Shauna's father taught me something. He said, all you got to do, Harriet, is get in the room. And that's what you teach people. Get in the room. Don't worry about all the papers and all the things and all the stuff that come with it. If you can get in the room, you're gonna tell them what you about. And when you tell them what you about, they're gonna hire you. They're gonna want you. They're gonna desire you. And he taught me that. Just get yourself in front of, and that's the way I do everything. If I want you, I'm gonna put myself in front of you. And then when you hear my gift of gab, you gonna go on with the go on, because it always works. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that.
And it's funny you say that, because I mean, just I know Shauna's thinking back. That man got a job. How did you get the job? That man had to get the gab. He had the ability to show up. One, my dad is good looking. Our daddy is a good looking man, and he could show up in that room. But when his charisma or whatever that he had, that was definitely a good example of, as long as you show up in that space, you're going to get the job, or you're going to get the position, or you're going to get something out of it. So I'm going to tell y'all what, I for sure know that tomorrow morning or tomorrow evening, even if I'm not watching this, I have to play this back in the background, because there's so many gems that I have just been collecting just from listening to you all. And I want to say, for those of you that know me, this year's it's been a lot. And for my family, it's been a lot. It's just been a lot going on. But what's so amazing is when you realize all I have to do is today show up. However I'm showing up, I just have to show up. And then the next day I got to show up. And the next day I got to show up, no matter if it's good or bad or how I show up. That also shows as an example to other women that every day I don't have to show up with a smile on my face. Sometimes I'm going to show up and you may be able to tell that I was crying, or you may be able to tell that the night before I didn't get any rest, or you may be able to tell I done walked in and the sun was shining and I'm shining just as bright as the day has come to us. But the way in which we show up, sometimes we have to, and I'm not going to get into this question, but I just want to put it out there that sometimes we do have to find ways to be vulnerable. Mainly because no one really will know how to show up for us if we always have to show up strong. I think last time we were on here, and Destiny, Dr. McKinney, you can attest to this. I know we talked about either this year or it had to be the year before, that we're tired. Mag, we kind of talked about this at our Black Women's Thrive event this Sunday. People said the word, I'm tired. And I feel that in ways it is almost a negative, or it is a negative for somebody to say, I am spent, I am tired, I have no more to give, I need a break. And that is really being vulnerable, because sometimes people will show up and say, if you would have just told me you was tired, I wouldn't have asked you to do it. Or if you would have let me know that you were in need of, man, it could have been like, for me, I pray that one day I get my own building for my own business. And if I don't open my mouth to say anything or be vulnerable enough to say I am in need of, you never know if someone's like, I got a space that we've had in the family for years. I rent it to you for $200 a month. You never know. So even though we are ones to show up and pour into, we have to find ways to be vulnerable so others can pour into us. And that has been a tough thing for me for the last 3 years. Therapy is amazing. If no one is in therapy, try it. At least try it. It has been an amazing road for me to realize that being vulnerable is so important. I want to roll back a little bit on, and we're about to reach the end of this live, but I do have 2 questions to throw out there, and I'm not asking anybody to be too short, but if you guys can hit on it, or if you don't feel like you need to hit on it, you want to hit on, whatever. But I do want to hit these 2 questions because through our previous conversation, because we always have a talk before the talk, we talked about these 2 major things, and I feel like they'll be very impactful on our listeners. So I'm gonna start with the second question that I had posted in the chat, y'all. What role, and Auntie, I'm gonna start with you on this because you hit on this, and I hope you remember some of the things you discussed. What role do churches and community organizations play in educating and mobilizing voters? I want to get on this about voting towards the end of this, because I know it can kind of stretch. And if it does, you all, be patient with us, because I really want us to get this out there. Because as we talk as women about being empowering or being influential, I feel that our voice also is just as loud or sometimes quieted in spaces where we are most needed. So again, what role do churches and community organizations play in educating and mobilizing voting? And with that, as a woman, how are you able to impact those spaces?
Okay, thank you. I find that it's vital that we step up and say something. On Sunday, we had one of the judges who's running for judge. She's running for the judge position, and she came to the church, as they often do, and gave her little spiel about, I'm running for a judge, and she didn't say vote for me, but that's basically what she was there for. And so I made, a special note, because I didn't know her, and I made a special note to write her name down, so that she gave out an email address or something like that, so that I can contact her after I discuss with the pastor what we talked about last time. I really want to have a panel of people come to the church and talk about this upcoming election and things that are on the ballot. And most of us go to church. One of the things is I was realizing the other day that we're all from different counties. So we need people to come there to the church and talk about what's going to be on the ballot and actually who's running. And I mean, not tell us who to vote, but vote for and which way to vote. But it's the things on the ballot, the proposals, the propositions on the ballot that we don't know a lot about. And it'll say Proposition 101 and give you one little line, but you don't realize that if you don't know that whole enough about that proposition, you may be voting for something that you totally don't agree with. It might have the first line say marijuana, you know, and we're like, oh yeah, legalize that, and then the bottom may say something totally different. So we need to know what the whole bill talks about. We need to know these things, and so the church to me is an excellent place to do it, because, and I hate to say it this way, but that we have a captive audience, and wherever you have a captive audience is a perfect place to bring the education to the youth, bring the education, and I want to include them because they're not voters yet, but they need to see how the system works. They used to teach us that. We didn't pay attention to the Senate bills and all of this stuff. We didn't pay attention to it because we never really realized that that's how we get our freedom. That's how we get people in place that can talk for us and share with us. And then connecting this with God, connecting this with, we pray all the time. We pray for those who are in office to be strong, make the right decisions, and we don't even know their last name. If you ask me who was the president before this president, I might not even be able to tell you. So we need some education, and especially for the elections. And here it's very difficult times because there are so many issues and we don't know about them. And so the church can play a big role in that. And not only the people who attend that church, but the sister churches that my pastor's always preaching at, or they're coming to our church. And we can really have a large impact on the community and on this voting deal that's coming up, and all of this voter suppression, which really has my mind just going in so many different ways, and how people were running into each other last time trying to figure out where to go vote because they had changed it at the last minute where they go to vote. And we want to be prepared this time. We don't want that to happen. We want to know it. We want to let other people know. And the church has always had a really big role in that. And but nowadays we have to bring it. I mean, and as a woman, I don't really want to do it simply because the men are the leaders at our church. But I'm going to do it. I've been telling my husband, because I've been hoping he would just do it for me because he's a minister, and he's looking at me like, you can do this. Bring this to the pastor, tell him what you want to do, get you a panel and get it done. So, you know, that's my take on that.
I want to just piggyback off of what I heard Auntie say, and I agree. I think that the role that community organizations and church play is to also remind us that there are local and county and statewide elections that are just as important as those national elections that get so much highlight and get so much attention. It brings it back to a community level. It brings it back to like what is affecting me in my backyard. One of the main reasons why I joined the church that I go to is because my pastor is a teaching pastor, and he always involves local school board officials, politicians. They always come to our church. The church I attend in Charlotte actually is, our pastor is the brother of Dr. Loretta Lynch, who was elected by President Obama. And so we get all types of folks that come to our church because of that now. I mean, from the Josh Steins to the Alma Adams, all of the folks that are very large in the North Carolina community, they come to our church, and they make it a point to come to our church because our pastor puts it as a priority. And we talk about issues at church. we actually had a community expungement workshop at our church to help people that needed help with expungement. Like, those are the type of things that I think that the role churches and community organizations and grassroots organizations play a huge role in making sure that we understand not only what happens to us on a national level, but what is happening to us in our communities. How can we be involved? How can we stay aware of the issues that are happening in our backyard? So I just wanted to add that to what Auntie said too.
And Shalee, I know you want us to move fast. So I'll try to be quick with my 2 cents here. I think churches and community organizations, they are trusted messengers, and trusted messengers matter, especially in a time where little to no trust exists in government. So when we're being asked to make decisions and vote on, XYZ issue or person or whatever, a lot of times people have so many other pressing things that they are dealing with that it's not that every time. I mean, we do have a lot of ignorant people in the world. We do, that just vote off of stupidity. Let me just say again, my bad, WSSU. But, there are a lot of people who actually care. But because we have so much happening in our day-to-day lives, they have so much going on that we can't even imagine, that they rely on what a trusted messenger tells them to do. And because of that, I think community organizations and churches matter so much, because a lot of times people will hear what is being said in those spaces and trust that decision and go make that decision just off of that word. And then earlier I talked about, Black women having relational intelligence. I want to kind of align that by saying, when I think about churches and when I think about, nonprofits and other community organizations, I think they have relational infrastructure. I think that they are the connective tissue to make everything come together when we're trying to make change in community. So, the role of our churches and the role of our community organizations, we know this from way back when. The church made everything happen. Like, many of the leaders that we know about, they were doing the things in the church. It's cemented in how we as a community move forward in anything we do. So their role is just key. It is almost a North Star for us. So
I'm gonna say something really small. The Black church and state have never been separate, especially when you're involved in the Black body. It's never been a separate piece. It's never going to be. And for us to reclaim what has been stolen from us, the work of the Black church over the decades that was stolen from us in this regime, this dictatorship that's happening right now that has 600,000 Black women sidelined in the workforce. The Black church has to go back to what it was doing during that time in the civil rights movement, which was partnering with those community organizations and being the space where we come together, opening that basement door so SNCC can come in and educate the students and do what needed to be done. Because granted, right, like Auntie said, she was trying to lean on the minister to do it. The minister gonna minister, but the minister got the key to the door, open it up to the folks that know that can bring it in, and that's less work on the minister. The minister can keep bringing the flock and connecting it to the resource. The resources are there. That I know for a fact, that's one of our biggest pieces. We're so disjointed and playing into the chaos theory that is currently happening right now. In the disjointment, once we begin to centralize and find those spaces where we can have those hubs, adult education started in the church. That was our biggest piece. We know it like the back of our hand. We built our own schools. We created our own curriculum while building said schools. And so it's not nothing that we don't already know. We just got to tap back into it. And we got to give space for that to happen, because there's a lot of education that's not happening. It's not, I really don't even believe that it's like we have so much going on, because so much we have going on is connected to the politics. It's the lack of education. I'm in Houston ISD. We're going through a government takeover with our ISD right now. If you can see how our babies are being taught in the classroom, There's no room for a teacher to have autonomy and make things connect with students and find that cultural significant piece or get that special book that can hit it. Or they are literally given this, you do this, and once you do this, you get a 10-minute DOL, which is you can show your learning piece, and then boom, you're off to the next class. That's not learning, that's banking. That's banking knowledge. I'm going to sit up here and give you something, you give it to me back. All right, it's creating a workforce of worker bees. That's it. Not new thinkers, not creators, not dreamers. So we literally have to forget about talking about who's on the ballot. Let's talk about why the ballot exists. Let's talk about, we literally have to educate and have civics classes just so we can get people up to speed on what's on the ballot.
Just 2 seconds, and I promise I'll be it. But I just really wanted to say, just piggybacking on a lot of what everyone already said, which were some gems, by the way. But I also recognize that, we are moving into a very interesting space when it comes to the Black community in the church. There are a lot of, I'm hearing a lot of, folks moving away from the church and not being involved in church, and so while the church was so instrumental during the civil rights movement and even still today, but it's evolving into something different. Folks are not as connected to the church. We don't have the same upbringing. I was brought up, my grandmother, when I was in Texas, it don't matter what everybody else is doing, but the church band's coming to pick the kids up and the kids are going to church. We're going to church. So I was raised in church. That was ingrained into me. My children were raised in church. But there are a lot of parents, a lot of folks nowadays that are not doing that. They're veering away from it, and there's no judgment here for me in terms of like what people are choosing to do. But what I'm saying is that while the church has been very instrumental, it's not reaching everybody. And I think that those community partnerships with the church partnering with other community organizations is really going to be instrumental to try to figure out how to bridge that gap. To be short, I'll leave it there.
There we go. You guys can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Sorry. WSSU's internet is like, boo. So it didn't want to be great. I'm gonna hit this last question and then we'll roll out. With all of this, all this, dealing with power, responsibility, empowerment, building up in the community, that takes a lot of work. I already touched on the word being tired. And I can say this out loud, but it doesn't mean that, I'm in the best practice. I'll tell you I'm better at it. But dealing with how we take care of ourselves so that we have the ability to take care of our families, take care of ourselves first. How we're going to take care of our families, show up properly at work, continue to dream, and move forward. I want to touch on this question. How do you prioritize mental health while balancing leadership, family, and career expectations?
I want to go first because I'm guilty here. I do a terrible job at this. I do a terrible, terrible job at this. I don't know if Misha is still on the live. She probably will scream out, yes, she does. She tell me all the time. But it's interesting because I think I know better. But I don't balance it. I just go and I just go and I go. But I know that boundaries are not selfish. Like, it doesn't mean that I'm being selfish. I know that. I just don't practice that. I think boundaries is structural. I really need to come up with a plan. So I'm going first to go ahead and admit my guilt so that when I hear everybody else's response, I can take my notes and be like, let me do that. Let me do that. Let me do that. Because I don't think it's sustainable. And I hope, the listeners hear me loud and clear that is just not realistic, and I got to stop. And we talked about all of our different names today. We have Ida B. Wells and not everyone else. I'm gonna say, even though this is not what she meant when she said it, I'm gonna be Fannie Lou Hamer and I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. So I'm really ready to take these notes and learn how not to be sick and tired today, okay? But that's my guilt and disclaimer before we even get rolling.
I'm happy to
I'm gonna jump. Oh, go ahead, Shauna. Go ahead, Shauna.
Okay, all right. I'll go. Thank you. So I'll be quick. I'll be very brief. What I'm going to say is two things. One, I'll talk about what I do currently, but I also want to just put something out there for consideration for folks, because I think that when we think about self-care and we think about how we're balancing, how we're making sure that we're making time to take care of ourselves, with all of the responsibilities that we have, I think that, we have not always been great at that. A lot of times our parents were not great at it. You know what I mean? As Black women, we have always had to wear all the hats. We've watched our, parents or the people who raised us and were a community around us, our village, mothers and fathers and aunties and uncles. We watched them do everything. We watched them work themselves to the bone. That was the standard, and it was like self-care. What is that? Get up. If you got time to lay down. So, we all, like, those things were ingrained in us. That's what we learned. And that's what we actually, somehow we turned that into some level of pride when we were able to reach that status. I can do all things. I'm dead dog tired, but I'm gonna get up and do these next few things too, and I'm gonna take this on. And somehow that was like, it was like wearing a crown. And I think that I'm grateful for all the things that have been put out, especially amongst Black women, to say, take your rest, sis. Like, you don't have to do everything. So I want to say that, because I also want to add to that. I want to say that I think we need to think about what it means, because we were taught, okay, so self-care, what does that mean? So there's all these things out there that say self-care, set your boundaries, make sure that you take time out for yourself to do something that you enjoy. I just want to say that self-care looks so different for everybody, and it may not be anything that's in a book. For some people, and I'll give this example because I'm trying to be short, because I feel like I'm going to be long-winded, but I'm going to try to cut this down, because this is actually something I'm really passionate about. But I will say that, how people say, well, I'm so tired. Well, you should go take a nap. Take yourself a nap. Everybody can't sleep during the day. Everybody can't go to sleep. I'm a person who can't nap during the day. If the sun is out, if it's daytime, I cannot close my eyes and go to sleep. But what I can do is I can lay and rest. I might even, throw on some headphones. I might put some music on. It might actually feel restful to me to get up, and y'all don't beat me up for saying this, because I don't do this all the time. Now, let me just be clear. But to even get up and say, you know what, this little corner right here, I'm just going, at my own pace, I'm going to slowly organize this little corner, because it makes me feel good. Rest looks like, my point is that rest looks like a lot of things. It doesn't always mean you got to go lay down and take a nap. It doesn't always mean that you have to go sit, in a bathtub. If that's what actually feels good to you and makes you feel rested when you're done doing whatever that is, whether it be mentally, physically, you really have to figure out what that looks like for you and what feels good to you. Not necessarily what's in the textbook, or not necessarily what even the counselor might say. The counselor might tell you, if you're in therapy, they might say, try, closing yourself off and saying no to this or that. That might not be your restful space, but you got to figure out what makes you feel rested at the end of it. It could be even having a good conversation with a friend. Some people wouldn't call that rest, you know what I mean? But some people would say, but some people, if it feels good. So I'll just leave that there. For myself, what do? It evolves. It just depends on the season. It depends on the season for me. So some of the things that I might do is, I do things that I enjoy. Spending time. Here's my newfound thing. I'm going to throw this out there because it's so not me and nobody would guess it. I bought myself a Nintendo Switch, y'all. Me and my husband, we play together. Sometimes I play by myself. I can't even believe it. It's so small, but you know what it does for me? It gets me off of mindless scrolling on social media. I'm not even really looking at anything, but I'm just scrolling to try to get away. It gets me out of, the traditional, I'm going to go sit and listen to music, or I'm going to go try to read something or do an audiobook or a podcast, or just sit inside or whatever it might be. But it just gives me something to focus on and gets my mind off of things. And it actually feels good when I'm done. You know what I mean? I don't know how long I'll be in this phase, but this is what I'm doing right now. And this is as of about a month ago. So, I'll just throw that out there to be short. But my biggest thing is, for me, it evolves for me. It's not the same all the time. Sometimes, sometimes walking. When the weather is good, y'all probably heard about Seattle rain. It's not always Seattle rain, but sometimes it's just Seattle gray. Sometimes it's just Seattle cold. I don't like to get outside in that weather, but so it's seasonal. Whatever works for that particular season, but you just got to know, and you got to try new things and see what actually feels good. But it has to feel good to you in order for it to be something restful, and that's what I'll say.
Oh, go ahead on.
I'm just going to go ahead and get it out of the way. And I believe that it's very important for me to do things that light my life up, because all I need is I'm serious. All I need is a good 30 minutes of light up, just a good hour of, some spiritual tunes that make me remember who I am and whose child I am and how I'm built. And boy, I just get lit up. That gives me rest. So like when I go, I'm like, oh yeah, come on with it. If I can get me a good 30 minutes of that in fellowship with others, makes me just want to run some more. I can go another week or do another thing or push a little more. And sometimes it's not church. Sometimes it's a festival. I might go to a festival. I love jazz music and I love the blues. And I might get out there and eat some crawfish and listen to the blues. And I'm ready to go and run another little while. I got to do things that I enjoy that really bring something to my life and make me just think about my childhood and my parents and listen to something that really just brings that to me. Or it may be somebody holding a conversation with me. I know who to go to get these things. But when you develop your life, you got to develop your life in such a way that you will have these things close to you. Because I need it close. I don't need no long time to start to get a happy, or to get something. I need to be able to reach out and I need to be able to connect and get what I need and keep it moving. Because I'm moving, I'm not stagnant. And I have to learn to let go. I have to learn to say, and maybe in this time of my life, my husband is number one. I mean, God's first, and then him. He's my thing. He's like number one for me. I'm supposed to be looking out for this dude, taking care of him, and I gotta do him. I gotta sit with him. I gotta pour into him because he's the person that I have the biggest expectation that will help me when I'm down. I mean, or I got too many things on my plate and I'm tired. When I say I'm tired, which means I can't take another thing. And I will give that to him. I will say, take this because I can't do it. I can't do no more. And that's on your plate now. I don't know how you're going to do it. I don't know what you're going to do. Do something. But I pour into him so that he can have what he needs so that he can help me and help everybody else that he has to help. And then my family, I love my family. I got to do that. And then the community, I want to help people who, the disasters, when they have disasters, I want to bring them something. I want to do stuff. I want to feed people. I want to fix plates. I want to do all that. And I can't do any of that if I don't get my charge, because the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. I want to lay down before he lays me down, because he will lay me down. There are times when he will put me on my back and I can't get up and I'm sick and I'm like, what's wrong with me? And it's because he laid me down, because I would not stop and I would not reach out and I would not connect. And it's like the parent, you don't want me to do it. So you might want to do it yourself, because when he lays you down, it might be longer than you want it to be laying down. So we have to learn how to recharge. We have to learn how to hit it, and not be stuck. because I take bubble baths every other night. I purposely make sure I have a tub for that because I love that. But there are some times when, like right now, they're asking us to conserve water. I can find other ways to, I don't have to be stuck on the tub. They're talking about conserve water in our county. I can't run no full tub of water every night. I gotta, that's breaking the law, whatever it's doing. I gotta find another way. And we can be creative. We don't have to be stuck. I'm out of bubble bath anyway, so I better go walk around the block or do something else, put on TDJs or somebody and just get a, I don't need a lot. I don't need a lot because go is already what I'm on. So what else do I need? If I'm allowing myself to get too burned out and too tired, it is because I'm thinking I'm the only one who could do this. That's a bad place to be. And that's when we got to do something to change, because I'm not the only one that could do it. Because if I'm not here today, or if I'm not here tomorrow, if I'm out of here, somebody else gonna do it, whether it be my family, I don't care who it is. So I've made myself up too much to think that I'm the only one. I got to calm back down and I got to say, Harriet, there are other people who can handle that. If not, then it's going to go undone. That's how I'll do it. Life ain't going to stop. Thanks for letting me share that.
Was that everyone? Y'all can hear me, right? You know when you unmute and your mouth, y'all saw me do that earlier. All right, we're going to close this out, and I'm asking my panel, and I'm going to give an example to just quickly say, and this is not, when I say like one or two sentences, just to say to our audience as we wrap up, I want you to wrap up with this question. What is one action every woman in this room can take starting today to step into her power? And so I'm going to say that you have to build a strong and trustworthy circle. And that circle can be a circle that starts off big and it can continue to get smaller and smaller. It may start off at 10 and end up with 2. But you have to build a circle so that when you're in a position where you are in need, you can reach into them to pour back into you. So that's mine. So I'm a popcorn over to Dr. Ramsey with 2 sentences.
Do it scared. Listen to this quiet voice in your head that scares you. Romans 8:28 says, all things all things work together for the good of the Lord who serves his purpose. And that's my favorite Bible verse. But do it scared. Listen to that quiet voice, and really just step out there and do the things that you know to be true.
Who are you gonna popcorn into?
I'm a popcorn into Shauna.
Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate you. So I would say believe in yourself, believe in your worth, believe that you belong in the room. So first it has to start from within. So believe in yourself, believe that you can do whatever it is that you set out to do. And then if you're not sure what to do, just find those resources, because there's always resources for you. If it's a person that you know that's resourceful, go to that person that you know is resourceful and say, hey, I'm trying to do this thing and I'm not sure where to start. Can you help me? Just kind of help point me in the right direction. If they can't help you, they'll point you to somebody who will. But it has to start with believing that you can. So just believe in yourself.
Love that. Who you popcorn into?
Lord have mercy. I'm going to popcorn to Auntie. Miss Vaughn.
All right. We are not built to break. You will not break. You will get close. You will feel like it. But we are not built to break. So don't worry about it. This too shall pass, whatever it is. That's it.
I knew she was going to do that. Who you popcorn into, Auntie?
Ooh, Dr. Destiny.
Dr. D.
Mine is simple. Breathe. It's revolutionary. It's so revolutionary, especially for Black women, because your breath is under attack. Your very breath is resistance. When you take the time to just breathe, you oxygenate your brain, your heart, all your vital organs. You give yourself the supply you need to do all of the things that were listed. And the last thing that's coming from Maggie, it's as simple as breathing. Just breathe.
I'm sitting here just breathing, child. Yes, yes, yes.
Why? Like I sat here and I was like, I don't want nobody to see me, but I was like,
It's like, yeah. I would say build in public, not for performance, but so other women can see what the process actually look like. A lot of time we just see the outcome. So I would say for the purposes of the generation behind us, build in public.
I promise y'all tomorrow, I don't know if you guys are going to do this, but I got to have this playing in the background tomorrow because I've been listening and like feeling good about it, but I want to listen and just not have to comment. I just want to listen. And with that, I am for sure that all of our listeners have really like captured something from this. I will let y'all know that we went over 30 minutes because we was only supposed to be here to 8:30. But as I told my panel, I was like, listen, we're going to be talking and it's going to feel really good just listening to each other. So I appreciate this circle for Ladies First. And for those of you that are new to the Ladies First circle, just know that it continues to build. We have many, many other women who have been a part of this. And I cannot say, not one time can I say that anyone that has been a part of this did not do something that did not make an impact. And I'm trying to like post Miss Harrington. Harrington. Hey, girl. There's been a lot on here. We got our VP for our chapter. She, jumping on, and a lot of the comments that have been coming through, I can tell that they have been impacted. So I want to thank you guys all. And I got to go to let me find it because it just makes me happy. The round of applause to you all. Thank you so much. So it's great that that Selena had this to say. Kudos to the host. Oh, thank you, and the panelists. And that is a reflection of how I feel, and I'm so thankful. I will say this. Ebony, everyone has dropped in the chat to say whatever this be that. We're trying to be a part of that. And for those of you that are listening and paying attention, Black Women Thrive here in Winston-Salem. We will continue to do many, many wonderful events to bring people together to continue these sort of conversations. And I just pray that wherever you are in your city, in your town, wherever you are, that you find that circle that you can just have a moment to be able to pour into or to listen, because the only way we're going to grow is to grow together as we, started off this conversation. So I will end with just saying thank you. And I'm sorry, I need this. Auntie, I'm putting this on you. Could you end, because you're here, I'm sorry. Could you end us with prayer as we go out?
Father God, how we thank you, how we love you. What a privilege to know you. What a privilege to count on you. We're not worried about it because we trust in you. You didn't ask us to figure it out. You just said trust you. We're just going to trust you and we're going to go with it. It's turned out pretty good so far. So we're going to keep on going. You have been there for us when we didn't know we even needed you to be there. Thank you for your angels all around us as we travel on these roads, as we go back and forth, as we go into these different places that we don't know what's going to happen in there. Thank you for providing protection for us. Thank you for women. Thank you, Lord God, for making us and creating us and putting us here for a distinct purpose, Lord. Help us to walk in our purpose. Each and every one of our households need you to bless us, Father God, to keep us, Father, whether they are under our household or just under our name, Lord. We thank you so very much for blessing us, Lord, to come together. And we hope that somebody, Lord God, was able to get something out of this, Father, because we don't know what everybody came here with. And we hope we have lightened the burden, Lord God. We hope we have cleared the path, that we put some light and shed some light on some difficult situations that people may be going through. Thank you, Lord God, for family. Thank you for friends. Thank you for colleagues. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen and thank God.
Amen. Woo! You got to be on for the next one, even if you have to end it with a prayer. Again, thank you all. Audience, thank you. And I hope that you share this with other people so that they can also, just check this out and be a part of the Ladies First movement. All right, y'all. Thank you and have a restful and peaceful evening.
Thank you, Shali.
Good.